But he has recently taken office, and in my opinion, took out somebody that needed to be taken out. So we're happy about that. But so he reached out to us he is obviously going to have an office in Nashville, and he's wanting football helmets from the high schools that he represents to be displayed in his office in Nashville. So today we are going to present him with an official volunteer helmet, and it looks like it's had a few tackles under its belt. So hopefully it's been tried and true, and it will prove itself very, very lucky to you.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Now, I'll tell you this, I like it where it's battle tested. And that way, whenever certain folks come into my office, I can point up to the wall and show them who I represent. That's really what it comes down to. So I appreciate these guys.
Excuse me, these scars are from Cherokee.
Are they? I was going to say, this looks like my helmet. Now, I went to Dobbins Bennett, so nobody boo me. But my helmet looked like this because I was offensive line and I cracked skulls every play. And so I've got some dings and things, but I appreciate it.
Well,
Sir.
Senator, I'll tell you, as a former offensive lineman myself, we lead from the front, not from the back.
Absolutely.
That's why I brought three of these big guys up here, so hopefully you understand. We're always going to face the ball, we're going to bite the ball, we're going to tackle the football. I thank you for your support, and we'll be praying for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are going to get some pictures with admin and all you guys, and we don't have to get the chair out of the way. We would like to know how it's going to be positioned in proximity to Cherokee.
That's how you. So I got this one first.
Higher.
Yeah.
So they got to look up at us.
So I'll take a picture and I'll send it to you. So you tell me where.
Okay, thank you.
And if it's a great picture, we may add it to one of these on the wall here.
There you go. We will strategically place it here as well.
Yeah.
So,
A better suggestion is put them side by side, because at the end of the day, we're all Hawkins County.
He's still a politician too.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm here with Bobby Harshbarger. Bobby, would you like to explain a little bit of who you are and what you do?
Yes. So my new job role is state senator, and so that includes all of Hawkins County and all of Sullivan County. And my former job was as a pharmacist, so running a local independent community pharmacy. So some have joked I go from the most trusted profession to the least trusted profession. So hopefully I can bring that bar up a little bit more.
That's great. When you went to ETSU, did you intend to become a state senator?
Absolutely not. Becoming a state senator, really just a public servant, really wasn't on the table. And I honestly don't think that's something that should probably be on the forefront of your mind. I think, in my opinion, you should go out, become invested in the community that you want to serve, and if you see that you could be the best fit to represent your people, then that's when I think that decision should be made. But thinking, no, I wouldn't say I would thought anything about being a public servant back in college.
Wow. So would you like to tell us a little bit about your campaign process? And what was the most difficult part of seeking election?
Yeah, so I would recommend to think twice before running against an incumbent for various reasons. Whenever you decide to run, you've got three things: your time, your talent, and your treasures. And so for me, I was fortunate enough to be able to take time away from the pharmacy, running the business. They afforded me that time to be able to go out and meet the people. So in about a 3-month period, we knocked on about 12,000 doors. So we went out to the public, grassroots effort, and try to get as much advice, try to get folks' opinions, because the ultimate goal in my opinion, the ultimate goal as a representative is to be the most effective representative you can be for your district. And so that to me was probably one of the most difficult things, is just getting out every single day, hitting the road. Literally, when I got here in this neck of the woods, I felt like I was going uphill both ways. There's nowhere I could park my truck to go up. I'd always hit hills. And so ended up losing about 10, 15 pounds and trying my best to keep that off while I'm up in Nashville. But that was probably the most eye-opening experience. And I'd highly recommend, once again, kind of leaning back on the previous question, is get to know your community become invested in your community, whether that's through your profession, whether that's through hobbies, but just get to know who you would potentially represent.
Yes. What have you done to invest in your community?
Yeah, so not only just being in my profession, being a pharmacist, we actually service about 12 or 13 some odd states from Louisiana up to New York, but we do the predominantly here in the region. So, providing health care is what kind of got me in the door of supporting my communities. I've been on various boards. One in particular that I have a passion for is children. So I was on the executive board for the Boys and Girls Club. And so being able to see firsthand how, some kids don't have all the advantages in the world, so how can you provide that structure? And to me, you've got, a lot of times children have structure from 8 to 3. They've got that support system, mainly in public education, because that's what we have. But then after that, after say that 3 o'clock time frame, a lot of times these kids don't have structure, they don't have support. So I thought it was important for functions like the Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, some other community-driven organizations to help provide that structure for these kids.
Of course. Can you briefly list and explain some of your roles in Nashville?
Yeah, so being a freshman, I've got about 3 weeks under my belt, and I've joked I felt like a kindergartner all over again because they've been showing me where the restrooms were, where's the cafeteria, but I just had my committee assignments. So in the Senate, you've got committees, you have no subcommittees, so it makes it a little bit easier to manage. And so one role is committee driven, so I'm on health, which with my background, I feel pretty comfortable with that. My second committee is energy, which includes agriculture, things of that nature, which energy is going to be a pretty vital role, especially in this administration. And then judiciary. So judiciary is the one that I did not expect. There's going to be a lot of things come through the pike that touch the legal system. So I've got a pretty broad range from health to energy, to ag, to judiciary. So I will be touching a lot in this upcoming session.
That's great. What would you like to do to improve public education while keeping parental rights in mind?
Yeah, so one of the big proponents for me is to support my district. Like I mentioned, the number one priority for me is to be the most effective representative, but probably more important to that is just to represent my people. And so for us in this region, we're predominantly public education. And when you look at the Tennessee Constitution, we are obligated to provide public education to Tennesseans, right? So for me, I think it's vital that we invest in public education. And, the idea of parental choice, I think is huge. I'm all about parent choice. So, for example, if you wanted to go from here to say Cherokee, or if you wanted to go here to Kingsport City Schools or Sullivan County or wherever, you should have every right to be able to do that. Now, the one thing that you start looking into moving from county to county, that's an easier transition. But say you want to go to a city school. So the only difference is you may have to pay a little bit of tuition because it's in the city and those city residents already pay taxes into that. So that just to me makes it seems a little bit on the balancing. It's fair. But one thing I'm interested in to see how this goes. My whole thing was with funding, without getting too much into details, trying to figure out how we make it sustainable, so we can sustainably keep providing the funding dollars to public education while also allowing these parents to be able to say, well, I want my child to have this. And I'll go pretty deep on this. Is pretty deep, and so I don't know if it may go over on the YouTube. But here's my thing. I talked about 8 to 3. So child has structure from 8 to 3, right? And after that, it's up to the community. So in reality, the General Assembly, the legislator that I work for now, we cannot legislate morality. I cannot tell that family to have two household family. I can't tell that parent not to work 3 jobs. I can't tell them to only work 1 job, or hey, why don't you work? Like, we can't force them to do that. So for me, public education stands in for that gap. And so that's why I've always been a huge proponent. And, you know, like I said, I want to have parents be able to choose where they go. It's just when you deal with public dollars, that adds an extra layer of complexity.
What is it like to have a congresswoman in your family?
Well, it's pretty unique. I don't know if any other family has this in the entire country, having U.S. Congresswoman and state senator in the same family. So it is unique. I'll be honest. My mother is probably my number one template when it comes to being a public servant. She is a great example. For her, you know, one of the things, she represents us here, I have no doubt about it, but the thing that I've learned is what they call constituent services. She takes care of her people. Anytime someone has an issue with, you know, a lot of times it's probably benefits, something that she will take care of it, you know, lickety-split. So that's kind of where I've learned that I may only pass a few bills a year, but my whole objective is when someone has an issue in my district, I try to give a solution to it. So it is unique. I've only been up to DC when she's been there, I think maybe twice. Granted, she ran during COVID, so that kind of put a pause on a lot. And I was supposed to go to the inauguration, but the vortex came in and canceled my flight, so I didn't get a chance to go. So I've not had any of the perks of having a congresswoman as a mother, but she's doing a great job.
And a bit of a lowball question here, but
Uh-oh.
outside of politics, what do you like to do? What are your
My hobbies?
yeah?
Work is my hobby, unfortunately. Now, I do have two children, so between coaching them on the basketball court or on the soccer field, I pretty much attend to their needs, and you'll learn soon enough. Hopefully later, not sooner. But as a parent, you know, your perspective changes, so it goes from everything about you to everything about them. So for me, my hobbies have been limited. I tried to start ground school and flight school, but that obviously got put to the side with running for office. But yeah, I think it's just probably my kids.
Thank you.
That's
This interview has been great, but now we're going to go give you a bit of a tour of Volunteer.
Oh, fantastic.